I hate to even ask the question, but is Transformers a dying franchise?
39 million worldwide? That's atrocious.
This is unfortunately yet another failure for the Transformers brand. A brand that has been on a downward trajectory for the better part of 10 years now.
Transformers really is a dying franchise now, and it's going to be joining Ben 10 as a billion-dollar franchise that's been left to rot.
Stop acting like you know the way ahead, like you know the rules. There are no rules, man. We're lost.
No. I didn't want to have to make this video, but I figured you guys would rather hear it from me. Transformers is a dead franchise, and I'm deleting my YouTube channel. That's right, I'm quitting. It's just without Michael Bay and without brand new Transformers live action movies, the franchise is dead. They don't have anything successful. Was that? Transformers Skybound issue 1 gets 10 for reprint? No, shut up. No one cares about comic books. No one reads those. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, so, oh wait, hold on. We're getting a brand new Transformers show? Oh, but it's a YouTube series, so it doesn't count. Transformers Earthspark Season 4? Isn't that woke Trashformers show I keep hearing about? With the owl with pronouns? No, thanks. I'd rather kill myself than watch that. Anyways, Transformers is a dying franchise because we just don't have the guidance of Michael Bay because he saved the franchise. Never mind, he only made 2 good movies out of 5. But we could get those new Studio Series and Gamer Edition figures out of my face. I'm trying to talk about how the series is dead. So sad it had to end this way. Saber Interactive, the people who made Space Marine 2 might be making a Transformers game? Hold on. It could be a G.I. Joe game. Transformers is something very near and dear to my heart, and it pains me to see it dead and they haven't done anything new or original or successful in so long. I mean, look at TransformersOne. They tried making an animated film. That's not live action. Where's Megan Fox? You can't even spell Transformers without Shia LaBeouf. Come on. Those are just a few of the things I see in the Transformers community as of recent is that Transformers is washed up. It's done. It seems very unlikely that, Transformers will survive, and we better get ready to press F to pay respect. Now, these comments aren't exactly unwarranted because Hasbro has indeed been mishandling the brand as of recent. And in no way, shape, or form in this video am I trying to undermine these comments, because this constructive criticism is what leads to us getting better and bigger products. What I am doing in this video is trying to weeding out the unrealistic expectations people are putting on Hasbro and some of the bold claims they're just straight up not true, and trying to root out the unhelpful comments and criticisms. Now, other than that being one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard, the most overdramatized, parroting echo chamber, some other third buzzword behavior I have ever seen, Transformers obviously isn't a dead franchise. At the beginning of the video, I jokingly mentioned a bunch of stuff that is coming out to be excited about for Transformers, and there's gotta be even more in the pipeline. We just haven't seen it yet. TransformersOne only came out last year. Instead of screaming out into the void, leaving nasty comments on YouTube videos, making video essays on how Transformers is dead and there's nothing you can do about it, instead, why don't we do something about it? You loved TransformersOne, leave a review, make a video essay, buy physical copies of the movie, stream it on Paramount Plus, recommend it to your friends, follow Josh Cooley and Jason Schreier on Twitter, Instagram, whatever they have, and let them know how much you love TransformersOne. Don't hound them with it. Don't be annoying, but if they ever post about it, let them know how much you loved the movie and you want there to be a sequel. I'm sure they know already, but the more people talk about it, the more people ask about it, the more Hasbro is willing to actually invest and see a return on this movie, seeing the loyal fan base that it's garnered. You want more Transformers comics? Buy the Skybound comics when they come out, either physically at your local comic shop or digitally, or if you can't afford it and you have to read it by some other means, the least you could do is at least spread it by word of mouth that these comics are amazing and something to be celebrated, and then buy them when you have the time and money to do so. If you love the Activision Transformers games, once again, make a video essay. Comment on YouTube videos how much you love these games. Let Xbox know, let Phil Spencer know. One's a bit more far-fetched, but you never know. Personally, I don't know the hurdles they'd have to go through to make that happen if there's any legal stuff. It can't hurt to just let your voice be heard and let people know about these hidden gems. And in the meantime, you can go download the games on PC at Transformers.games and make an account at the Warehouse Discord server and play these games online. Join creators like myself, Berries, aka Archon Prime, nice rebrand by the way, Johnny Flash, who are keeping these games alive through lore videos, community game nights, and professional movie level quality machinimas and storytelling. If you love the figures out right now, buy Studio Series, buy Age of the Primes, buy Legacy, Gamer Edition, and maybe by buying Gamer Edition, that will also prove that, hey, people still love the Cybertron games. Maybe we can't get remakes of it or relistings, but maybe we can get something new. Maybe Saber Interactive's game will be their own take on War for Cybertron. At the very least, we want games of similar quality. And I know a lot of people are skeptical, but the least you can do is give the new Transformers shows a chance instead of writing it off. Give it a couple episodes, and if you don't like it, that's fine, but don't bash people who do like it. And maybe you could make a video essay on why you don't like Earthspark, or why you absolutely adore Earthspark, and Weird Al's Cosmos is perfect casting, and we need more dedicated episodes to this man. And in case all of that still didn't convince you, I asked several of my friends, people I've worked with, and fellow content creators that I've met for this amazing community that I love being a part of so much, what their unfiltered opinions are.
I think the reason a lot of people say that Transformers is dead or a dying franchise is primarily because the movies have kind of taken a backseat. And for a lot of people, that's what Transformers is, a set of movies. You think about the people outside of the fan base like ourselves who are consuming content from all sorts of different angles and aspects and little pockets of the community. For most people, Transformers is a set of movies. Yeah, there's toys, and sure, there's a TV show here and there, but they're movies. And so they remember those first 3 Michael Bay movies. They know, yep, there was Transformers before that. They made some lackluster ones after that. They made that Transformers one that had those really bad trailers. I never saw it, blah, blah, blah. Therefore, Transformers is dying. I think that's where a lot of this comes from. For the fans, obviously, we know more. We're more in tune with the franchise, with what's going on with the toys that are constantly being released, the TV shows that are coming out, the stories, the comics, so on and so forth. And I think right now there's just a lot of division within the community because Transformers, as it always has been, is branching out for many different categories of people. And people who like one thing, of course, on the internet must therefore hate the other thing. I like this side of Transformers, the more dark and gritty, more mature side of Transformers. Therefore, when a toy line or a cartoon is coming out for a younger audience, for children, I must hate it, and therefore Transformers is dying. Look, Transformers is not dying. We've got a great comic book. We're having some really great figures. We recently had a great movie just last year. I know it didn't do that great in theaters, and I understand all of that, question marks about if we're going to get another one or not. I get it, but that was just last year. Transformers is not dying. It's not dead. It's fine. Transformers has always been like this. There's ups, downs, there's ebbs and flows. There's times when we get a lot of great stuff, and there's times where it's quiet. This is normal. Nothing's changing.
Transformers isn't dead. At least, as far as I'm aware of, it's not dead. Honestly, a series is completely dead if it's just forgotten as a whole, or the IP is just sitting under a rock. Then that company will just use that IP to shut down anything related to it, whether it be fan projects and all that stuff. It's not as big, but it's still pretty big. People still make fan projects and fan animations for Transformers, and the toy line is just still going pretty strong as far as I've seen. Especially when the toy line is willing to go back to the older stuff too. And even outside of the toy line, we still have other things such as the shows and the games, most importantly, the comics. I mean, hell, we still got a lot of people looking back into the IDW and the Dreamwave comics too. Not to mention people having to read through a lot of Skybounds. Not to mention too, there was a whole Kickstarter for the old US and UK comics for Transformers, and the goal, or what they pledged for, was like 40,000 on the Kickstarter. Dude, they raised like 4 mil with like 11,315 backers. Dude, that's like a lot. That certainly shows that people still care, dude. Transformers isn't as big as it originally was, but it isn't dead. Yeah, honestly, we're still going. That's all honestly what I gotta say. This is more of an editor's note. As of right now, I am still flabbergasted that Slugslinger got a figure. Dude, I voiced him in like one thing for you, Brushed, and now he has a goddamn figure. There's no way. God damn it, I actually have to buy him.
To say the franchise is dead or dying is simply not true. You're either saying that as a troll or you're not looking deep enough. We have a toy line that many people love, one that seems to be higher quality than the last one we got with Legacy. And yes, Hasbro does care about the toys, they matter a lot within the franchise, but I wouldn't say the franchise is dead or dying, it's more like it's half awake. While we haven't got any new exciting shows or movies yet, we're still riding off the coattails of TransformersOne, which was a major audience success. I'd say we're in good hands, we just gotta wait. And don't even get me started on the comics. Skybound is reaching new heights we haven't seen before in Transformers comics, and I think it's only going to get better. Now, only if we had a Transformers game. But nah, the franchise isn't dead or dying. If anything, it's in a decent spot.
Transformers has been in decline for a while now. Sure, it's had some small ups like the Bumblebee movie and TransformersOne, but those were never able to grow to the same popularity as the old 2010s Transformers projects. I remember back in 2012, we just had Transformers Dark of the Moon release, the best Bayverse movie and the biggest Transformers movie to this day. We also had Transformers Fall of Cybertron release, which, if you know me, I believe it to be the greatest video game of all time. Then we also had Transformers Prime, which was a great TV show at the time, and even Transformers Generations, the toy line, was going pretty well. This period of Transformers was firing at all fronts, constantly, all the time. Compare it to modern Transformers, where we get a small-scale movie every couple years, which consistently underperforms, regardless of quality. Transformers Reactivate, which, might I say, had the largest appeal to people new to Transformers than anything before it, was cancelled before it even got a chance to be played. The TV shows like Earthspark already ran at a low budget, but even now it's being cancelled to make way for an even cheaper Transformers YouTube series. Combined with the recent development that Hasbro will not be funding any future Transformers movies, and just in general Hasbro's refusal to fund anything Transformers, it seems like the franchise is destined to slowly fade into obscurity like it did in the late 90s.
Is Transformers a dead franchise? Both yes and no. I'd say it's not dead yet, but it's definitely dying, and that's because of Hasbro. Yes, they are a toy company. Like, Transformers is a toy franchise. The main focus was always toys, but, you know, kids grow up. Toys aren't gonna be working for everyone forever, you know? People grow up. Yes, there are collectors, but how many of us in the world are actually collectors? Like, not a lot. And I also blame Hasbro because they kind of seem to only want to do toys. Like, we've had good movies, but they don't want to do movies anymore. And we've had good games like War for Cybertron and Devastation and Fall of Cybertron and the others. They've said that they don't want to do movies anymore. They want to do games. But if you like look at games, Transformers games, the last good Transformers game, in my opinion at least, was Transformers Devastation. And that's 10 years old. And then we had Reactivate, got canned. Like, nothing came out of Reactivate, which is really sad because we need more, like, Transformers games that are good, like, not mobile games. We need PC and console games as well. Like, this isn't working out. So, yeah, I don't know. Transformers dead? No. Dying? Yes, definitely. And that is sad. So please, Johnny, save us. Please.
for every franchise, there's always like low points, okay? Star Wars suffers from that, a lot of anime and other series kinda do. It's not the end of the world, there's always gonna be low periods in a franchise. Are things kinda a little stale in Transformers at the moment? Yes, I would say so, but there are other franchises that are in much worse state that are still able to keep on going. And by virtue of achieving iconic status thanks to the Michael Bay movies, even G1 itself, and several of the other, things Transformers is famous for, I don't think the series is going anywhere, in all honesty. If worst case scenario, if Hasbro ends up going, bankrupt or whatever, I do believe that maybe someone else buys the Transformers franchise. I don't know, maybe Disney or some other company here and there. I hope to sideways it's not Disney. But people have been saying that it's all doom and gloom and that it's the end is near, all the way since the days of Age of Extinction. I remember that vividly. I was there for that, people did that, people still continue to do that, but it's not the end. If you're really bored, then I recommend checking out some of the fantastic work some of the people in the community are doing. There's so many fan series and movies out there that are actually, really good and are worth your support. Because if worst case scenario does happen, this is how a lot of series just end up keeping on going despite, the low content that we get from the primary provider, Hasbro. But hey, what do I know? I'm just some silly guy that makes Transformers videos on YouTube while playing with my toys. Anyway, BrushedRanger, I demand my money to be paid in cash, okay? I charge per the second.
So, personally, I don't really believe that the Transformers franchise is dead or dying. While yes, there have been a few underperformances with recent movies in the box office, and there's also the cancellation of Transformers Reactivate. I think there's a lot you could still do with the IP that would reach the wider audience. Like, that would definitely have a mass appeal. It just, there's a lot of material to work with, and it's just a matter of how it's presented to the wider public, right? And that ultimately rests upon the holders of the IP. Now, whether or not they are willing to take new directions, like introducing concepts in the Transformers world that haven't been brought up in other stories, or focusing on characters that haven't had a chance to have their spotlight on the big screen. Like, when are we getting a punch and counter punch standalone movie, right, y'all? So while the franchise is still going, with all of these opportunities that they can take in these new ways they can reach a larger audience, I remain optimistic for what they'll put out next.
So I've been seeing online a lot lately, people arguing whether or not Transformers is a dead franchise. Though, to me, honestly, I don't think that could be any further from the truth. It absolutely is not a dead franchise. Sure, people are trying to say that, oh, the Transformers TV shows aren't doing so good. Earthspark took a nosedive in quality after season 1. Now we're getting Cyberworld, which is like this kiddie show. It's a bunch of 5-minute YouTube clips, essentially. And the comics are, like, so boring and all that. It's far from it. Now, for me, personally, as someone who's only into Transformers through the TV shows, movies, and video games, I don't really collect the toys that much. I can't say for sure whether or not, like, Transformers as a toy brand is dying, though I keep seeing a lot of people on my timeline talking about being excited for each new batch of toy releases, so clearly that's not the case. But on top of that, we've got a lot of stuff in regards to movies, TV shows, and other content that keeps Transformers alive. The Skybound comics, for instance, are doing amazing. Literally, the first issue of the Skybound comics that came out 2 years ago was the #1 comic of 2023. And then it even went further into 2024 as well, like the top 5, I think, comics that were like new that year. So it's clear that, like, comic-wise, I'd argue even as far as now, the Skybound comics are doing way better than IDW did the last few years of its release. Like, that's all I can think of. And then as far as TV shows go, yes, Earthspark maybe didn't do so well in its last 2 seasons compared to how it did in season 1, but it's still around. They're still making toys of it. Cyberworld is showing that as we're getting more content. And for terms of movies, we literally had TransformersOne last year, which fans unanimously agree is the best Transformers show of all time. And we just had Rise of the Beast before that. We're getting the G.I. Joe crossover movie, probably I want to say in 2027, around there. So in my opinion, Transformers as a franchise is far from dead. And anyone who believes so just thinks that, like, oh, the content that's currently being put out isn't for them. And sure, if that's the case, more power to you. Like, not everything has to be dedicated to you, but just because the stuff that's the franchise is currently putting out isn't for you, doesn't mean the franchise is dead.
Is Transformers a dying franchise? Short answer, nah, not yet. Long answer, still no. But there's some things that I've seen that I want to point out, and it's also a little bit unscripted, so it's a bit of a ramble. First off, dwindling toy sales have really impacted the franchise. Personally, I think it's the leading motivation for Hasbro wanting to step away. Well, they aren't going to step away. Transformers is massive, it's their biggest brand. It just feels like they're kind of scaling back. Another thing I've seen, specifically from the fans' angle, is bringing back Michael Bay. I've seen a lot, and this is also kind of works its way into something else I want to talk about later, but Michael Bay is not going to save the franchise. Newsflash, he's just not. He wants nothing to do with it, so stop asking for something. I remember this being going around during the Earthspark times, but woke is not killing Transformers either. I don't know why anyone would think that, because it's just not. There's many other factors coming into play, one of them being that a toy company is not selling as many toys. I wouldn't say the Transformers is dying, but I'd say the fandom is dying, because I've noticed a lot of toxicity personally, and a lot of people just saying stuff, specifically like they refuse to watch Earthspark because of like 50 seconds of Nightshade. It's not G1 enough, it's not Michael Bay, it's not this, that, the other. So it's not TFP, I've seen that as well. So my main message to everyone would be just stop being undercritical and overcritical of your stuff. Accept the new, regardless of whether or not it's good or bad. And if you don't like something, you should experiment. You should explore why you don't like it. And if you really hate it that much, maybe just Transformers isn't for you anymore. Transformers is not dying, it's only dying because you think it's dying. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Yeah, ciao.
Hello, my name is Morgan. You may know me as the TopHattedTrex. You may know of my in-production show, Transformers 99, which is definitely coming. I've been asked if I think the Transformers franchise is dead, and to that I say definitely not. Transformers has only existed as long as it has because of its strong community. It may currently have limited media representation, like no movies or subpar shows in my opinion. However, the community is still strong, and that's what matters. It's the fan content and the events that keeps it alive, it's the people. And I think it'll only continue to get stronger. But if you're anything like me and you want to keep it going, make stuff and give back to the community yourself. Besides, if you want a dead franchise, when was the last time you heard anyone talk about GoBots?
Movies? Dead. TV shows? Dead. Video games? Dead. Everything. Dead, dead, dead. Except for the comic books. Comic books are pretty good. Driving, I'd say they're pretty good. And I guess the toys are alright. But everything else is dead!
Hey guys, so here at the end of the video I wanted to talk a little bit after everyone got done talking. Please go check out everyone's channels in the description below. They're all awesome, and thank you so much for coming on and giving your thoughts on the current state of Transformers. I really appreciate it, and this is what I want. I want more collaborative and to strengthen the community. I think we need to be more unified now than ever, so that's one of the reasons I really wanted to get everyone together. And it sounds like I'm the guy from FNAF 6. I got everyone together, then I burn them alive, but no. I love Transformers at the end of the day. I think it comes down to a core misunderstanding and misuse of the brand, and Hasbro is in a really weird transitional period. Paramount, despite having the movie license for years, has a core misunderstanding of why Transformers is good, and I'm happy that they finally, after 3 movies, seem to finally understand why Sonic is good and why TMNT is great. But maybe it's time to let Transformers go, at least from Paramount. Did 2 polls, one asking is the franchise dead, and one asking if you could have them go to any other animation studio, who would it be? And to the one person who voted Disney, I hate you. Hasbro going independent with Allspark Pictures. Their animation studio that they made around Predacons Rising is leading But then right behind it is DreamWorks. I personally think DreamWorks would be the best, considering they made movies like The Wild Robot and How to Train Your Dragon has huge big scale battles of a lot of dragons and big things shooting fireballs at each other, and just the heart of their movies, as well as like the sleek robot shooty animation of The Wild Robot and how much heart and integrity that movie has. I think they could pull off a Transformers movie, either their own or a sequel to Transformers One. I wouldn't have a sequel to Transformers One though without Josh Cooley and Jason Schreier, so I don't know if they'd be up for that. And as for if Transformers is dying, coming in last place is The Franchise is Dead, which is what we like to see. But then middle of the road, It's Dying, which I understand, and this was before Transformers 1 sequel got cancelled, so take that into account. The majority of people think that the franchise is fine, or it's just in a really rough spot or a transitional period, because Hasbro currently is trying to move the market from toys, movies, shows, comic books, more skewed in gaming and collabs. So far, we haven't really seen them do anything with this. They have Hasbro Games and Hasbro Arcade, but they haven't really shown anything from those studios. They have Wizards of the Coast and that Saber Interactive game, but I think once Saber Interactive's game kicks off, we're gonna see, you know, maybe a new Transformers game renaissance. I'd really like to see new Transformers games. I'd like to see something akin to like Shredder's Revenge. Transformers Dead? No, I don't think so. Dying? I don't think Transformers will ever truly die because of its place in pop culture, and a franchise never truly dies because you can always go back and watch all the old movies and play the old games. And Transformers is still very profitable for Hasbro. So guys, I know it looks bleak right now, but let's try to stay positive, and maybe we could get a hashtag going. I don't have Twitter, I'm not getting Twitter, but hashtag Save Transformers 2, hashtag Fire Paramount. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Transformers is still alive. Bye guys.